this city, and I spent a long time in the Labor Council. I've gotten past two major Qs. The major Q over here, the ordinance that requires a public hearing before a hospital or clinic can be closed, was my baby. And so, I just wanted to say that the sisterhood between San Francisco and Oakland is real. Ed and even Chuck Reed down in San Diego, we're sort of like no drama mayors. We've been talking a lot and coordinating because the world sees us as a region. When you go to China, I always tell this joke when you go to China, they very politely always ask you how big your city is, and when I say 400,000, they ask politely again because they're sure they misheard, because in China you're not a city unless you're 2 million, and I have to explain, even San Francisco and San Jose and us together have to be all combined together to be anywhere near the size of the cities that they think of cities being. And so it's humbling, and the fact that we have worked on so many collaborative things, in particular I thought was fitting that we had the moment of silence for the 2 firefighters who lost their lives. Our flags have been at half-mast, and we adjourned our city council meeting in their honor, because living in earthquake territory, we are really interlocked, and so we do a lot of work together on planning around disasters. So, let me say, I love the idea that this club is named after Eleanor Roosevelt, and it's a great chance to every once in a while reread the things that she said, if nothing else. It reminds us, a lot of the things that she said are so true today, and the fact that she was one of the leaders of our country during the last Depression is inspiring in and of itself. Oakland, you would think, being as progressive a city as it is, should have taken 158 years to have its first woman mayor. But when you think about it, Diane was launched under a tragic situation, and the election of the mayor from the beginning, either Asian or woman, still needs to happen in San Francisco. Someone who's elected and not appointed first, and that was true in Oakland. Most of the Asian Americans for most offices before I was elected were appointed first and not elected. And I think that partly what that meant is that the Asian American community had to be better organized. But part of it was probably a lack of imagination among political leaders, and that's true about women too. That even today, I would say that I face more discrimination as a woman in my work than I do as an Asian American. So for instance, y'all remember the Chronicle articles and coverage of the election? Well, what's very interesting to me is there was a poll that they did that was a robot style poll. This is the one that had the woman senator in Washington losing, which obviously she didn't. Robocalls are pretty biased, but you have to be at home and be willing to answer them, these surveys. But the fact that my opponent, the senator, did well on that, it was widely publicized. And at the same time, there was a poll from the Labor Council that said that had it been a head-on, not a ranked choice voting, that I would have given by double digits. Now, that was never covered in any of the media. Now, I'm not advocating, but the reason it came out was because at that time the senator was trying to hold back ranked choice voting and not have that happen. But it's not because of ranked choice voting that necessarily I won. I might have had an actually easier race because the women's vote wouldn't have been split. And so, but it's the perception that there was some kind of trick. And I remember at one point being totally exasperated. I said, "You're the San Francisco Chronicle. You've been doing ranked choice voting for quite a few years now. Why is it suddenly a surprise?" And when you think about it, and I've been watching San Francisco politics for a while, you've never had as many Asian Americans on the board of supervisors as you have now. And that's partly because you have district elections and because you have ranked choice also. And it allows groups to come together. And in our case, it allowed Rebecca Kaplan and myself, 2 progressive women, to basically both run. And for our votes to coalesce and not be split. And so San Francisco I hear now that there are some people with a lot of money on both sides of the bay who would like to push back rent-choice living, and I think that that's something that we should look at and make sure that that doesn't happen, because I think, despite all of the fluff, the fact that I was elected in the fall election meant that more minorities, particularly immigrants and African Americans, voted for mayor, because most of our elections have been determined in the June primary. And a lot of times, and particularly Asian Americans, do not vote very heavily in June primaries. They understand presidential elections, they don't get the party thing, they don't get the primaries, although we're working on that to make them all Democrats. But it's clear that many more people will vote in the fall. And as a result, I was elected by more votes than any other mayor in recent history. But the chronicle and everybody's like, well, did she really win? Did she trick everybody? She just outsmarted everybody? And no, I probably outworked everybody. We had an amazing race. But and then they declared Prada the winner before we actually ran the votes. And then when I won, they kept on saying, did she really win? And it's just sort of, and I still wonder if I'd been a man, would that have happened? Or, just maybe I wasn't their candidate? Don't know. We also sometimes think that we have come to a level of equality, but in order to win, I basically mobilized 1,000 volunteers, including SanFrancisco, who was wonderful, and we walked to every precinct in Oakland, and I personally walked to 220, in 220 precincts. I held 220 house parties, and one of the questions that bothered me, that always seemed to come from a woman, was, so are you strong enough to be mayor? And I'm like, yes, exactly. But no, you can't say that when you're in for mayor. You have to be very polite, and you have to explain that, you've been working in the, I worked as a school board member, which I think Joanne's one of my oldest friends and is now president of the California School Board Association. She knows, I think, is one of the toughest jobs in California, because you're unappreciated, unpaid, and they are constantly cutting your budget, and you have no ability to tax locally unless you can do a partial tax. So my hats are always off to school board members. They earn their place in heaven, as far as I'm concerned. So for the ladies who are our school board members, thank you for the work that you do. But, okay, that comes up during the house parties. It was always the woman who asked it, because women were just more courageous. The guys were probably thinking that they thought, oh, they'll get jumped on if they ask the question. But just about a month ago, as I've been battling the budget, one of the reporters who I actually like, and who I've always thought as being a very nice guy, asked me, do you think you're strong enough to get through this? And I looked at him and I said, I just beat someone who spent $2 million more than me, mobilized 1,000 people, got beat up by $500,000 worth of ads and other things from the California Prison Guards Union, and you're asking me if I'm tough enough to be mayor? It's just amazing to me that we still have to face that. So, sisters and our supporters, I would say that we still have a lot of work to do, and that particularly in the state of California right now, we have a legislature where we've lost ground. Sandra Swanson named me as the Woman of the Year, and I was sitting on the floor, and I was counting the women on the floor in the assembly, and I realized that we had less than we'd had in recent years. And I wonder then, is that linked to the idea that we could do school funding in a way that preschool could be eliminated out of most school districts in California, where in-home services keep taking care of our elderly has been really cut to the bone, to where we finally made it to the bottom. Did we make it to the bottom this year in school funding? No, almost. We're still 49th. We're getting very close to being finally below Mississippi.
Yeah, we're working at it.
All right, after all those years that when Jill and I, we moved it from like 46 up at one point to 44, and we were so happy, but I don't think we ever got above 44 in the country. And where health care for children have been cut. And so you can't not think that maybe if we had more women in the legislature, that we'd do a better job on those things. And to see those things rolled back at this time is so painful, because many of you, knowing many of you in this room, have been fighting for reforms that we thought would be our platform and that we'd move ahead, but now we're being pushed on the defensive vote. And so I think it's time for us to seriously look, when I said this is a Democratic convention, it's time for us to seriously look at more women in the legislature. It's absolutely so, given that, and I have to say, when the reporter asked me was I tough enough, I wish I'd had this quote, because of coming to the luncheon, we all sort of like look at the Eleanor Roosevelt quotes, and I wish I'd had this one, that a woman is like a tea bag, that you never know how strong she is until she's in hot water. So I think that is absolutely apropos for those of us who, if Ms. Ma is still here, it's time for us, when we're in hot water, to become stronger, and we become stronger because we organize people. I would have not won this election. I have to tell you that women and Asian Americans thought I was crazy. I mean, honestly. That I'm somebody who, like Jill, has done a lot of local elections. I have done 14 elections in the city of Oakland. I've only lost one, and that by about 600 votes for the libraries, or library one. Every election that I've run for the school district, or ran for the city, for the state libraries, etc., I've won because, it's not because we spent a lot of money, but because we had a lot of grassroots organization. And I knew I could get 1,000 volunteers. And I knew if I could get each of those volunteers to contact 25 people, and I learned that from Obama, because I was a Hillary delegate, but he beat her with volunteers, and we all worked together to elect him. But he beat her, even though she had better name recognition, more money, because he had more volunteers. And it's a fundamental belief in grassroots organizing, and we all give a lot of lip service to that. But it's how you win elections, it's how we're going to put Obama back in the White House, and how we're going to clearly take over the state legislature. Is we've got to do that hard work of registering the new Americans in this area, and to get women, particularly working women, who have all the other burdens of raising their children and working, getting them out to vote in higher numbers. We can do that if we do the grassroots organizing. It was probably one of the most discouraging things. And so what I want to ask you, all of us, a lot of us have been in this field a long time, and it's easy to get jaded. And I never won the NWPC endorsement when it really mattered. It was really interesting the way that is organized. We always divide our votes. We never get behind somebody, and then I get endorsed in the off year after I've won. We've got to have a little courage. I mean, I was highly criticized because I was the last Asian American on the city council. We once had 3, we were down to 1, and people just didn't think I could do it. And it was very, very tough. But I knew as long as the volunteer numbers kept coming in that we could do it, and I actually called it. I said, we'll win by 4 or 5 votes per precinct, and we did. We won by 4 votes per precinct. And it could have gone either way, but it went my way because we were able to, even though we're outspent by what we estimate $2 million, because there were so many soft money attempts around the person I ran against. But we won it because those people were willing to do that very basic thing, to talk to their neighbors. And when a neighbor talks to a neighbor, and even though you get these horrible mailers accusing you of killing children and hating the police or whatever, that we can have still a democratic dialogue. And that's one other thing that Eleanor Roosevelt talked about. She talked about the fact that people who care about society and talk about events and don't talk about people, if you keep on the subject, if you keep on the issues, you've got to trust that voters, sometimes, when you can talk to them as human beings and not just throw TV ads at them, will do the right thing. And at the very end, The last thing I'd like to say is we, as women, have been leading the league, and other people have been leading campaign finance reform. Throughout the campaign, I said, I believe grassroots organizing can beat money, but I have to tell you that when I saw the World Series ads for my opponent, do you have any idea how much a World Series ad costs? On cable TV, I was thinking, I'm not sure we made that much money. But we did, and at the last moment, my husband and I decided that we could win this if we were on the ground. We decided to stop our fundraising events. We were supposed to go to LA and New York for fundraising events in the Asian American community. We put a second mortgage on our house. We've now paid off most of that. We still have about 56 to go. But we put a second mortgage on our house. Our entire family took off work, and we just knocked on doors. So the real story about the Oakland election is nothing fancy. It's our democratic roots. It's talking to everybody, and organizing block by block. And as mayor, if you see the initiatives, I'm actually really trying to keep those 1,000 people still working. We have had 2,500 people come to my town hall meetings. We have about 250 people who are actively involved in a group called Block by Block, and trying to continue to organize in the neighborhoods. I've adopted as mayor 3 police beats that are the toughest beats in the city. Highest unemployment, highest violence, highest dropout rates. And I plan to continue to knock on doors and to organize those neighborhoods. Because I believe when you organize neighborhoods and people can see that you can make change, that they have a little bit more hope and they come together. So what I want to say to you is sometimes we have to take chances. We have to be counterintuitive. A lot of us have learned how to work the political system, but every once in a while we have to take chances with somebody who we really believe in. And as Eleanor said, you've got to do what's in your heart because you're going to be criticized anyway. Thank you very much.